Hey guys, welcome back as always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're going down the rabbit hole. This is a high-level build meant for endgame. I'm talking about doing hard mode bosses either with your party, solo, and not only. So I'm assuming you have a good understanding of Bunny's mechanics and general gameplay features, not just her remarkable assets. If you're not fully comfortable with the character just yet, you should check out my impressive lightning tutorial in the cards right now. And when you're ready, come back to this. There are two major farms that you need to get done in order to get the build going, and the first one will be the Supernova set. Now this one is a bit more hyped than it deserves to be, however it will add some valuable boss DPS. 2 set bonus electric skill power modifier 8.6%, helping out all of our skills. The 4 set bonus fusion skill power 12% is not completely worthless, but it's not fantastic either. It helps your first ability, it helps your passive, and it helps your fourth ability as well. But normally we don't really use any of those, we simply run around bosses as they melt. And we're still gonna basically be doing that. On electric skill attack upon an enemy inflicted with electrocution activates Executioner's Thunderbolt at target's location. This one reads fantastically well, and your free ability Lightning Emission takes care of the prerequisite. Unfortunately, the wind-up animation to the actual damage is awfully slow, so when it comes to farming or mobbing, this one is borderline useless. But when you're doing bosses, that's when it comes into play. Deals additional electrical damage equivalent to 100% of skill power modifier cooldown 2 seconds at a 50% chance. So when you're buffing your skill power, you're buffing its damage as well, electrical skill power as well. However, singular skill power will not be buffing its damage, and it's not really worth sacrificing for either when it comes to the build, because the damage it deals is simply not all that high compared to your free abilities damage. The reactor should be pretty self-explained at this point. Make sure it's tingling, make sure it's singular, and make sure you get at least electric skill power boost ratio. I also got cooldown, which is useful, but it will force you to adapt your build. Ideally, you would want to get something like, here you go, electric skill power and singular skill power boost ratio. That would be fantastic. Obviously, the higher the roll, the better. Stat priority for your external components as per the usual, HP and defense. Do not go into shield either, but unfortunately for me, nothing better drops. Maybe you will have better luck. Max MP is a good idea for more sprinting, and also some additional resistances for some later bosses might not be such a bad thing. For example, Toxin resistance for hard mode Swamp Walker, and Chill resistance for what follows next. And the second major farm that you'll need to accomplish, High Voltage. This is an absolutely nutty Transcendent mod, and it completely transforms Bunny's damage. The problem with it, it's Ultimate Bunny exclusive, which is why this is an Ultimate Bunny guide. It states the following. Reduces the number of enemies that Thrill Bomb and Lightning Emission can strike, that is your 1 and your free ability. Instead, increases range and damage. But that's not all it does. On screen, I'm gonna be pasting a before and after of each skill. What we're interested in is the third ability. It also reduces its cooldown from 30 seconds to 22, which means we are no longer forced to use a dedicated cooldown or duration mod to have 100% uptime on her free ability Lightning Emission, which by the by now from 150% skill power goes to 250% skill power. That's how you're gonna be hitting in the millions against level 100. Now you should still use some cooldown reduction, but the point is you're no longer forced into something like Nimble Fingers. Instead, you can just eat the 2 seconds worth of downtime or use Focus on Electric. Just with this benefit alone, and the cooldown goes to 20.7. In my case, it's 19.3, simply because of the Reactor's benefit. If you want to have no downtime whatsoever and you don't have a Reactor or whatever else bonus for cooldown, you can go for HP and skill duration instead of just plain old HP. I don't really recommend it because the HP hit is quite drastic and you do need to, survive to deal damage. Now tell me how comfortable you are using the grapple in this game, because when it comes to Bunny, it's an essential tool not only for repositioning and survivability, but also for DPS. It increases your speed. Faster speed, more ground covered in the same amount of time, more DPS, because you're going to be getting more discharges out of Lightning Emission. So grappling all the time or introducing it into your DPS rotation is definitely the way to go. To that extent, you might consider this one long distance maneuvering. I can't really get all that used to the cooldown, but when you do that, increased range really comes in handy, especially for a bit of burst and of course the usual repositioning. From this point onwards, everything should be pretty self-explained. HP to survive along with defense, critical hit chance and critical hit damage through skill insight, front lines, emergency measures and skill concentration. Your critical chance is about 31% and your critical multiplier should be 4x. Dangerous ambush, this might need explaining. When landing a skill attack while the enemy is not targeting you, skill power 24.9%. And on skill attack against an immobilized enemy, skill power 49.8%. I'm not sure why, but basically I'm getting this bonus most of the time, if not all of the time, especially when you're fighting a boss and it goes down into its whole, oh, I'm down state. Basically that free DPS window. One thing that I really want to point out, Singular Specialist, yes, cannot coexist with Technician or Tactician, what's it called, the regular one. These two cannot coexist, sadly. Should I go for Technician or should I go for Singular Specialist? Obviously, Singular Specialist is going to be giving you a whole lot more damage on your free, but Technician is also going to be buffing the damage of Supernova. Long story short, it's simply not worth it. Go for Singular Specialist.
Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey!
Now I want to give you a couple of gameplay tips and tricks, and we're also going to be talking about a couple of specific boss situations, starting with the Executioner. The problem with this one, he is very resistant to electricity damage. That doesn't mean you can absolutely murder him with Bunny. Yes, you can, but it will just take a while. When it comes to his frenzied state, you can either try and hit the thing on his back, but if you're doing this one solo, it's gonna be a bit of a pain. You can just simply wait it out. You're not gonna reach the enrage timer. Dead Bride can be a little bit annoying because of her Ice Age spell. I recommend you get a decent sniper and simply take out the 2 canisters on her weapon. That way you can speed up the fight a bit. Devourer is an absolute joy to play with Bunny because you can kill him in under 30 seconds. And let's be honest, the Devourer has kind of become our DPS test in the first Descendant. Now if you can kill him in the first 30 seconds, you can simply take out the free capsules, walk up to them with your lightning emission on, and they're gonna get absolutely pulverized. Make sure to use that grappling hook in the fight as well to increase your burst DPS, and keep an eye on the ads. They're gonna be dropping some energy if you're lucky, which will help you sprint a bit more. Pyro, now this is the boss most players complain about. I'm stuck on Pyro, but for a Bunny he's extremely easy, simply because he is weak to electricity damage. All you gotta do is dance around him until he dies. As for the frenzied state, you do the exact same thing that you did with Executioner. You can either ignore it and wait it out and you're gonna kill him in 2.5 minutes, something like that, or you can use a sniper to take out the canister on his back. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Swamp Walker. Now you would think this was the easiest of all because he is very weak to electricity, but unfortunately for a solo Bunny, this has been quite annoying, simply because you cannot ignore the frenzied state and you will have to take out all of the canisters. And if you ignore them, well, you're just gonna hit the timer. Essentially, this is the only boss I built a bit of toxin resistance, and I recommend you do the same as well. Outside of that, if you're having trouble surviving, why don't you stay at range and use a sniper to take out all of the canisters during the frenzied state. Outside of that, you can do plenty of damage to him, and the ads will replenish both your energy and your health as well. One last small addition that will offer a very slight benefit: Brisk Walk on your weapon. If you can fit it, if not, not. The problem with this one, it's 5-second duration with a 15-second cooldown, so basically 10 seconds worth of downtime. And it's only 10%. You barely feel it and you very rarely see it. But still, if you can fit it, why not? Now let's talk about area of effect. Perhaps you're not doing bosses, you're just, I don't know, farming Kuiper, let's say. High Voltage, while it does make your free ability Lightning Emission deal a lot more damage, it also limits it to 3 targets, so I would take it off. You don't really need that much HP or that much defense either, so eeny meeny miny schmo, whatever you prefer. I want to talk about MP Collector because you guys seem to love it, and far be it for me to rain on your parade. But this one has a chance to proc of 17%. You will kill packs upon packs of enemies and you'll still not see a proc out of this one. It has no pity mechanic, so every single kill has an 83% chance to give you nada. So for the very large majority of the time, this will be a dead mod in your build. And you know what? Even when it does proc, it's only 12.2 of max MP. Slap it on and just follow its performance. It simply doesn't do all that much. Instead, why don't you go for more range with Frugal Mindset? or maximum MP. That one is gonna prove more fruitful. And that's pretty much gonna do it. As always, Leyzar, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe only if you enjoy the content. If you got any feedback for me, let me know in the comment section down below. And yes, it's true, Bunny is a whole lot more than just assets, and when played and built correctly, she can absolutely make mincemeat out of most bosses. At least the first 4 or 5. What follows next? Well, let's just say I don't want to spoil it for you. Enjoy. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.